All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hello, everyone. Here is Isa and Giuliano. We're going to talk about head and shoulder formations. What are the head and shoulder? How does it form? What should you pay attention to, and how do you trade? So let's get to it. Isa, tell us. Do you have some great examples of how to trade, and what does the head and shoulders look like?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Giuliano. Let me take a look and we'll open my screen to show you guys what I'm talking about. Right here, we've got Bitcoin had a bit of a volatile weekend where it was going down about 30–40%, I think. Let's see here. Okay, so let me just set this up. This is one screen, and then one screen here. Okay. So first thing we're going to talk about right here, we see in March it began. We had a head and shoulder, which is the left shoulder coming up here, dropping down to some support, as you can see, and then it bounced back up, hit some resistance at the top of the head, brought back down to some support on the right shoulder where it began, came up and back down. So what we have is we have three triangles. The middle triangle is going to be the head, which is going to be the longest, overextended. And then afterwards, once you see this neckline right here form and a breakdown basically is going to occur. So once you see some volume starting to rise and this part right here breaks, you've got to get out because it is going to do a move that's equal to about the head, which is the bottom to the top right here. We take that, we drag it over, and we see a drop in about, let's see how much. Yeah, so about a 30% drop, and this was very predictable move. And these head and shoulders are moves that once they play out, they usually tend to complete. So what I want to do also, Giuliano, do you have anything you want to add with this chart? One sec, I think we might have lost him. Giuliano, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Hey, Isa, so nothing to add, I'm just talking about, head and shoulders over here. You're talking about, was it predictable? Yes, it was predictable. We can see over here that, the market moves in waves, and the big whales, the big corporations have been accumulating, and then it formed this distribution phase where they release some, and then the price goes up, and then they release some more, and then you have this beautiful head and shoulder formation. And the head is basically the trap. They call the head as the trap because it has us retail small investors trying to get breakout, but then it just comes down to more drops. And going back to you, you have another example.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of compare, what's happened in the past, and that's something that I like to do in markets is to see what happened about a year ago. So I've got another chart that is Bitcoin as well, and we can share that with you. One moment. Okay, so right here we've got Bitcoin from March of 2021, and we've got Bitcoin from this past month. You can see a very similar move right here. So we had a left shoulder, we had a head, we had the right shoulder, and then once this was broken, the neckline, we had a very similar move, which was the measurement here, brought down to here. And once it does complete this, that's where you can start looking for new patterns, basically. But you see the volume breakout here, the completed move down here. It was about a 29, probably 30% drop again. And this is something that veteran Bitcoin traders will get used to. If you saw this in the regular stock market, you would definitely panic. But this is something that afterwards, look what happens. It goes back for consolidation. Tries to go out of this channel that it was in before, and once it finally does break, we just see some bigger upside moves. Let me show you a weekly.
So what is the time frame over there? You're looking at the weekly. This is the weekly. You have the daily time frame that you had the head and shoulders before there. So that was around March of this year.
Yeah, so March of 2020. We're gonna look at.
Oh, so 1 year ago.
Yeah, 1 year ago, March 2020, it did the crash, and then it took about April, May. It took about 3-4 months actually afterwards to finally break out again, and that's where it really took off. Actually, maybe even more than 4 months, but you can see that it does a lot of consolidation. This is where I think alts are going to start really going higher once we do the same consolidation method right here. So we'll send
That's
it back
perfect.
to Juliana.
I really like, for the viewers out there, what Issa is showing over here is this is what happened right now. If you know how to short the market, a head and shoulder is a perfect opportunity to, short the market on this pattern. We have the inverse head and shoulder that you take the position on the upside, and you'll be nice, Issa, if you can bring that chart again, or I bring the chart over here, that you actually enter at the break of the neckline and you put your stop loss at the shoulder. And I'll share my screen here, and or do you have it easy over there?
I'll let you share it because you're looking at a certain one.
Perfect. So let me share my screen over here, and I'll show the viewers out there. When you talk about head and shoulders, and usually people want to talk about, hey, where do I enter? Where do I exit? How do I play it out? Well, here, we talk about predictive price action trading, high probability setups, and a head and shoulder is about an 80% probability that is going to do what it has to do, which is either going to go down or up. Inverse head and shoulder is going to go to the upside. In this case, if we look at the market, Issa was talking about Bitcoin. I'm showing you Sand. This is another coin over here that has had the head and shoulder. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. Look at it. You have the same move. And how do you trade? You take the break of the neck and you put your stop loss over here, and your goal is the distance between the neckline and the shoulder. So this is sand for you guys. And if we look here, look at Tron. People talk about the Wildroff, pattern that Bitcoin has done. But if you look at all the coins out there, take a look at it, guys. This is not like people talking about market manipulation. No, this is the big guys have been accumulating for a long time, and now they're distributing. They're taking profit, and what happens? It goes up, and then they release some. And then the market goes up again, and then they call the head as the trap, and then they release some more at a very high price. So great for them that the price go up again, and then they basically release the last piece of money that they have to make a significant amount of profit. And if you see here, it forms a head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. And if you trade, you gotta trade the break of the neckline, like this one here. You have to also know that some patterns you have to skip. In this case, your stop loss is over here, and the break here just kind of went too much. You almost, you went almost half of the distance that the predicted move is. So I would not take this move, mainly because the break, if you take a look at it, it was just too big. Right, you have this candle over here, and do you agree with this? The break is just too big over here. It almost made the entire move for you. So if you enter over here, the probabilities over here of going a little bit more, and then your stop loss, it doesn't make up the risk to reward. So some you really have to watch out and basically skip. Go for the next one that gives you a much higher probability of success. Issa,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Those two that you showed us are good examples. And like Juliana was saying, if it doesn't do what you're thinking it's going to do, and the volume's not there, or the pattern tends to just slow down, you get out and you go for another one. Don't get emotional over this stock. Never marry a coin. Just keep moving on.
Perfect. And one thing I want to mention is that head and shoulder formations on the daily time frame is very reliable, and it's about 80% predictable. And if you know how to short the market, head and shoulder is a short selling opportunity. Now, I want to show you a time where a head and shoulder did not work out, because people also want to say, does it work every time? Well, it doesn't work out every time. And I was watching this one very closely. and this one did not work out. And this was about Ethereum. Ethereum had a head and shoulder formation on the hourly time frame a little bit while back, when it was actually it was right before the time where it took off. And let me show over here what has happened over here. So this is the hourly time frame. Let's see if I can find it over here. Oh, so here is a nice. This is a nice inverse head and shoulder, guys. Now you follow me over here, Isa. You know, here's the a nice inverse head and shoulder. This is a buy opportunity, guys. The stop loss is right here. You know, your entries at the break, and you take the distance. Look at it. It's just about that. And once it completes, you have to exit, because you do not know if it's going to happen. Look, I'm seeing another one over here. This is not a very pretty one, but you can kind of see that it forms, right? You have the left shoulder, you have the head, and a little bit of the right shoulder here, and you have the neckline. And look at, in this case, it did not break to the upside. There was no entry opportunity for you, so you just let it go. So what I'm showing to you guys is that these patterns are very predictable, but it doesn't always play out the way you are expecting, okay? So be careful and make sure that you do the risk to reward probability. And
that's
4 hour time frame.
That's kind of what I do like about the head and shoulder and the inverse head and shoulder, is the risk to reward is high, and it does often play out. It's just very easy to see as well on the chart. You don't even need any software. You can see it with your eyes.
Look at this one here, you know, talking about, you know, what kind of pattern, you know, the market was telling us everywhere. Look at, this is the 4 hour time frame. This is what happened with Ethereum, guys. Look at, this is not anything new, you know, this is just accumulation and distribution. This one went to this side, and then you had a nice entry over here, had a nice opportunity, and usually stops at the next resistance and support. Look at, you know, you can see here that it was a nice probability to, you know, success here.
Yeah, and they often try and reclaim that, but they go back and they hit their head and they go back down.
Perfect. Yeah, well, one thing that I'm seeing over here, see what happens over here, right? So when he forms the head, you know, he also has a trend line break. Look at here. You have a divergence on the indicator, and you had a break here, and then you have a high probability here. This is what we talk about, you know, in our channel, in our website, high probability setup. You know, there is a higher high here, but the indicator does not go a higher high. This is a divergence. And you know, on our website, in our YouTube channel, we talk about the mini trading course, which is the breakout and divergence strategy, right? The trend line was broken. We have a divergence. You have a measure move over here, right? Over here too, guys, right? Look what's happening over here. We have another divergence over here, but you only enter at the time of the break, right? So there is a probability here that the price is going to go up, it's going to go down. Probably it's going to look what's going to happen here. It looks like it's going to form another inverse head and shoulder. So if you're looking at this pattern happen live, this is what you want to go in and try to make some money. All right, guys, this is what we talk about inverse head and shoulders. Isa, back to you. Anything you like to add here about inverse head and shoulders and head and shoulders in general?
Well, they're one of my most traded plays, actually. It's something that I really like looking for inverse head and shoulders more than head and shoulders, because I tend to go long more than short. But it's just a fantastic opportunity when you do see it. And if you can catch it, get in and out quickly. Don't stay in it longer than you need to.
Perfect. Very good, guys. I hope you have liked our video. If you like, subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Look at our website. I'll put a link down below. We have this patterns in our website and the probability of success. If you do a nice little homework and study the patterns and do a nice risk to reward every time you enter and exit the trade, you can be very successful. So join us on the next video, which is going to be on Wednesday. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.